Hello everyone, welcome to SST College of Arts and Commerce. This is SST Edupedia. Myself Assistant Professor Reena Mishra. Today I am going to take this particular episode for Introduction to Custom Law. This topic is useful for TY BAP Semester 6 Indirect Taxes. First, let's understand what is custom duty. Custom duty is a kind of indirect tax which is imposed on all the foreign trades, all the export and import. Custom law is a duty on tax which is levied by central government on imports of goods into and export of goods from India. Whichever import or export from India or to India takes place, it attracts the custom duty which is administered by central government of India. Quantum of custom duty depends upon the provision of Custom Act 1962 and Custom Tariff Act 1975 and related custom rules, notification, circulars, case laws and annual Union Finance Act. These are the regulatory bodies, those who administer the custom law. According to their notification and provisions, the custom law is regulated. Custom Law 1962 is the main act governing custom duty. Customs Tariff Act 1972 contains two schedules. Schedule 1 gives classification and rates of duties for imports of goods into India, whereas Schedule 2 gives classification and rates of duties for export of goods from India. Section 156 of Customs Act empowers the central government to make rules in this regard consistent with provision of the Act. Now let's understand what is the objectives of Custom Act 1962. Behind every act, every rules or laws made by government, there is an objective. So what is the objective of Custom Act 1962? To resist the imports for conserving foreign exchange. To restricting imports is for restricting the use of Indian currency for buying the goods and services from the overseas market. Conserving foreign exchange with the help of restriction on import is one of the objective, because imposition of Custom Act is going to make the goods or services dearer, and that is going to restrict the imports and the consumption. To protect the imports and export of goods for achieving the policy objective of the government. Government is creating various policies and which is related to imports and exports. So to protect the import and exports of goods for achieving the policy or to take the benefit of the objective of the government, imports and export restrictions are very important. Protection are very important. To regulate the export, again the exports are very much beneficial for the growth of the economy of the country, but at the same time the export must be carried out under the rules and regulations laid down by the law, and that is what is regulated with the help of Custom Act 1962. To coordinate legal provision with other law. The Custom Act also works in coordination with the other law. For example, IGST, the goods and service tax, which is levied on the goods and services as soon as it enters in Indian territory. To safeguard domestic trade, the Custom Act 1962 is also helpful for safeguarding, for providing the protection and safety to the domestic industries, and to protect the revenue of resources, to protect the industries in India from unfair competition. Due to Custom Act, the goods which are imported to India from the foreign country are imposed with the additional duty, and that is why it becomes dearer, costlier as compared to the Indian product, and that is why this is protecting the unwanted competition of in the Indian market with the foreign products. To prevent the smuggling of goods and activities related to the same, the custom duty is levied on different types of goods. but the import and export of goods must be legal in the eye of law. So the Custom Act also helps in controlling the smuggling of goods, to prevent the dumping of goods. Dumping of goods, that is unnecessary storage of goods. So Custom Act also helps to prevent the dumping of goods. And last but not the least, it is serving as a revenue to the government. The custom duty is collected in the form of revenue to the government, is helpful for discharging various social welfare programs. Let's understand the structure of custom duty. What is the origin of custom duty? The custom duty is mentioned in the is the part of Constitution of India. It is mentioned in Article 245 or 246 and entered in entry 83 of List 1 of Schedule 7 of Constitution. The Constitution of India has formed two different laws, and that is converted in the Act, and there are basically two acts which are enacted by Parliament of India. There are the acts which are used for the implementation and incorporation of Custom Act in Indian economy are the Custom Act 1962 and the Custom Tariff Act 1975. The Custom Act 1972 deals with the levy, that is charging, assessment, that is computation of tax liability, custom liability, and collection of custom duty. Import and export procedure, what are the different import and export procedure to be followed during the foreign trade, transit and transshipment duty drawback, warehousing, appeals, settlement, advance ruling, etc. These are the various provisions which are listed in the Custom Act 1962. The Custom Tariff Act 1972 deals with the classification of goods and rates of taxes. The goods which is imported or exported at the international frontier from India are classified in two different schedules, that is first schedule and second schedule. First schedule deals with the goods which are imported, whereas second schedule deals with the goods which are exported. Stages and imposition of tax and duties. There are three different stages of imposition of taxes and duties, that is levy, assessment and collection. Let's understand the meaning of each and every stage. Levy stands for creation of liability upon happening of taxable events. So whenever the import or export procedure takes place, during that event the liability of tax, that is custom duty, arises. So during the event of import and export, the levy of custom duty takes place. So taxpayer becomes liable to pay tax whenever there is happening of any taxable event. Secondly, on the basis of different import and export procedures are carried out, the assessment of custom duty takes place. Assessment stands for computation of tax liability, that is quantification of tax liability. Quantification stands for computation or calculation or determining the tax liability. So the person or the assessee actually comes to know what is the tax liability he has to bear or she has to bear. The amount of liability is calculated. Third and the last stage is the collection, where the government is collecting taxes from the assessee. Tax is actually collected at this point, and the payment of liability, and finally the dues are settled. Rules are made by central government as per the power. Now these are the four important concepts related to the custom law. First, rule are made by central government as per power vested in it by Custom Act and Custom Tariff Act for better implication of the provision. Notifications, how notification is different from rules? Notifications are also issued by central government, but they are temporary in nature. They are providing the temporary relief or temporary solution for the existing issues or problems. So, rules are permanent, whereas notifications are temporary relief provision. Both are issued by central government. Regulations are issued by Central Board of Excise and Custom Duty. Circulars are issued by Central Board of Excise and Custom Duty for clarifying the issues relating to the custom law. Now let's understand the different definitions. India includes the territorial water of India, portion of sea which is adjacent to the storage of shores of India, 12 nautical miles from baseline. Sovereignty of India extends to the territorial water and to the seabed and subsoil underlying and the roll space over the water. The Indian Custom Water, according to Section 2, Subsection 28 of Custom Act 1962, Indian Custom Water means water extending into sea up to the limit of exclusive economic zone. It will thus include the continental shelf, the exclusive economic zone and other maritime zone Act 1976 and includes many bay, gulf, harbour, creek or tidal river. Exclusive economic zone stands for, it extends up to 200 nautical miles from the baseline. In this zone, India has exclusive rights to exploit it for economic purpose. This is the distance from the Indian territorial bed up to the expansion of India in the coastal water is given, which is defined as the exclusive economic zone. Since the expansion of Indian territory is in water also, therefore it's very important to define the boundary of the border of India in water, so that the border of India are also regulated by the custom officers. High sea is beyond 200 nautical miles. The area is known as high sea. All countries have equal right to high sea. Baggage includes unaccompanied baggage, but it does not include the motor vehicle. Bill of entry, this is a declaration filled by importer-exporter at custom station during import and export of goods. This document contains detailed information of imported or goods exported. Bill of entry is filed during the import and export of goods. It refers to the detailed information, goods which are imported or exported in this particular document. Goods, it includes vessel, vehicle and aircraft, stores, baggage, currency and negotiable instrument and any kind of movable property. Vessel, that is the ship or the water transport. Vehicle stands for a road vehicle or railways. Aircraft or any storage which is already the important requirement for the vehicle which is used for the conveyance. Baggage, currency as well as the negotiable instrument are all, and any kind of movable property are considered as goods under the Custom Act. Person in charge means in relation to vessel. Suppose if the goods are transported in the foreign trade with the help of vessel, then the person in charge will be the master of the vessel. In relation to aircraft, if the goods are imported or exported with the help of aircraft, the person in charge in that case will be the pilot in charge. In relation to railway, if the goods are sent or exported or imported with the help of railways, the conductor, the guard or the chief director of the train is the person in charge. And finally, in relation to any other conveyance, in any other mode of conveyance, the driver or person in charge of conveyance is the person in charge. So these are the various concepts related to Custom Act. We have seen, I hope you all understood about what is Custom Act, what are the laws regulating the Custom Act, what is the origin of Custom Act and how it is levied, assessed and calculated, and different basic concepts of Custom Acts. In the next videos we will come with some other informative contents. Thank you.